is NECN News Now.
We begin this afternoon with the latest developments from the Middle East. I'm Bridget Blythe.
And I'm Justin Michaels. There are more violent protests going on against the U.S. in the Middle East, stemming from a film that denigrates the Prophet Muhammad. Just in the last hour, a large cloud of black smoke started rising around the U.S. Embassy in Tunisia. Thousands of demonstrators have come together outside that embassy, and several were seen climbing the outer wall of the embassy grounds. Police have responded by firing tear gas, and there are reports that gunfire can be heard. We'll bring you more details on this developing story as soon as they come in.
Earlier today, though, in Lebanon, a crowd set fire to two fast food chains. One person was killed while clashing with police there. And
in Sudan, hundreds stormed the German embassy and burned a car. No reports of injuries there. While in Yemen, security forces fired tear gas at a crowd of about 2,000 who were trying to march to the U.S. embassy. And that has prompted the U.S. to dispatch a Marine team to that area.
Meanwhile, along with the bodies of the three other Americans killed, Justin.
Bridget, also here in New England this morning, I had the chance to talk to a doctor from Mass General Hospital. Now, he was sent to Libya to meet with Ambassador Chris Stevens the morning after he died in Tuesday's attack on the consulate in Benghazi. His name is Dr. Thomas Burke, and as you're about to learn, the 4 American diplomats who died in that attack are being mourned in Benghazi, too. Americans on the ground in Benghazi, Libya, the night the American consulate was sacked by Islamic extremists, recall a chaotic scene in that city.
We didn't know if all of Benghazi was under attack. We didn't know really what was happening, particularly in the first hour and a half, until we got a call telling us that the consulate was, there seemed to be violence or attack going on at the consulate.
One of those Americans is Dr. Thomas Burke from Mass General Hospital, and he was scheduled to meet with Ambassador Chris Stevens just 12 hours after the ambassador died in the consulate attack.
At 2:30 in the morning, we received a phone call that the ambassador was in the emergency department at the Benghazi Medical Center, and then maybe at 4 in the morning, heard that the ambassador had died, and that there were some other injuries and fatalities as well, both Libyan as well as American, and that everybody from the consulate had been evacuated.
Their meeting was to show Ambassador Stevens Benghazi's medical center and the partnership Mass General had with that hospital to provide better medical care for the Libyans in Benghazi. And Dr. Burke says the death of Ambassador Stevens and the 3 other Americans, including former Navy SEAL Glenn Doherty of Winchester, Massachusetts, is extremely saddening to the people of Benghazi.
The people of Benghazi, the next day, everywhere, were heartbroken. You could, throughout the hospital, the doctors were sitting on the floor crying, and everybody knew the ambassador. Many people that I met had had dinner with the ambassador in their homes, and he was a leader in the revolution.
Dr. Burke went on to say the Libyan government, out of fear for the safety of his team and other Americans on the ground there, offered them all first-class tickets the very next day to make sure they were safe on U.S. soil. And of course, stay with NECN for continuing coverage of the ongoing unrest in the Middle East. You can also follow the latest up-to-minute information right there at NECN.com. All right, that's a lot of heavy news. So let's downshift here a little bit and talk about the beautiful weather.
It is beautiful. I mean, beautiful, gorgeous, fantastic. Meteorologist Tim Kelly, add another word in.
Yes, relaxing. It's
all right, today is the first day for Apple fans like Bridget and me to pre-order the new iPhone 5. Did you do it?
I didn't.
I did. Apple Online is taking orders for the new iPhone, which features a 4-inch display, among other upgrades. Cannot wait. The iPhone 5 was unveiled Wednesday in San Francisco and will hit store shelves on September 21st. And that's also the day pre-order customers should receive their new phones. But sadly, for some excited customers, some pre-orders through Apple's website, believe it or not, have already been pushed back an entire week. More than 244 million iPhones have been sold since it debuted back in 2007. And speaking of Apple, check this out. That looks like fun. Security video just released shows a suspect crashing his car into an Apple store. Then he robbed that store. This happened in California, just north of San Diego. Now, some people jumped out of the car and started grabbing whatever they could off the display tables. But get this, police were actually able to arrest the driver because, wait for it, his license plate fell off.
Not to mention that there was video rolling while he was doing the whole thing, right?
Whoops.
Yeah. Palace officials have...
In West Springfield, Massachusetts, I'm Jackie Bruno, NECN.
All right, now that we want that, is it going to be a good weather weekend?
Yeah, but he wants that. Meteorologist Tim Kelly's like, just that guy.
Right. Yeah, I'll take half of the donut part.
Those tree sculptures aren't cheap. They cost around $900 each, Justin.
Really? Okay. There's something different on the menu at a restaurant in Disney's Magic Kingdom. When Be Our Guest restaurant opens later this year, it will serve beer and wine. Go figure. This is the first time in the park's 41-year history that beer and wine will be served in the park. Disney officials say they've listened to feedback from guests who've said they'd like the option of having alcohol with dinner. Bridget's laughing. The restaurant will open in November. What are you laughing about?
It's like, well, I mean, it's about time. People have a long day and they just want to relax with a drink.
All right, so I know something else you need some alcohol to get through. Here comes Mr. Food. He's turning dinner time into a fiesta.
Here's his take on overstuffed chicken burritos.
Our markets.
We did it this morning on the morning show with a guy that I went to college with, who, has a bunch of small roles in movies, and he was just 2 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Really?
Yeah.
How many degrees were you? 3 then? Just 3? Or?
I'm only 3 then.
There you go.
There's more news coming up. I'm Bridget Blythe.
And I'm Justin Michaels. You're watching NECN, New England's news station.